네, 안녕하세요. 한경닷컴 김수현 기자입니다. 시즌 1을 개인적으로 굉장히 재밌게 봤는데 그 웬즈데이가 우리나라를 제외하고 다 1등을 했잖아요. 그래서 한국 시장에 대해서 뭔가 아쉬움과 함께 이번 시즌 2를 앞두고 기대감도 있을 것 같아요. 그 많은 글로벌 팬들이 있지만 특히 한국 시청자들이 어떤 부분을 봐주셨으면 좋겠는지, 그리고 웬즈데이의 그 경쟁작으로 오징어 게임이 계속 언급이 되고 있는데 이에 대해서 어떻게 생각하고 계신지도 궁금합니다.
I really enjoyed Wednesday season 1. It was really great. And one thing that stood out to me was that Wednesday ranked number 1 in the most watched list in all countries except for Korea. So, does that upset you a little bit maybe? Are you annoyed with us at all? And what are some expectations you may have for the Korean market with season 2? Is there anything that you would especially like for the Korean fans to look out for? And with Wednesday, Squid Game was often mentioned, as maybe rival Netflix shows. What do you think about that as well?
I think to look at art or, any sort of television making or filmmaking as a competition is doing everyone a major disservice. We're just so grateful and excited to be able to have a show that plays here. We all started off, we're California kids, you're a Florida kid, we just had no idea that, we were going to be able to make things together that would reach an international level. So we're very grateful and excited to be here. Numbers and things like that don't matter if we're able to connect with one person that's incredible. And, we've been fortunate to connect with the world. As far as the second season goes, episode 6, part of the second half, is a very Enid-centric episode, and she's a huge lover and admirer of Korean culture, and we have some songs in there that you guys might appreciate or be familiar with, so I think that's probably something to look forward towards.
Definitely. Anything to add, Emma or Tim?
No, we were surprised that season 1 was a success. I've had both success and failure, so I'm always surprised either way it goes. So, as Jenna said, we're just happy to present it to anywhere, and we're like she said, we're not in competition with anybody. If people like something, that's great. There's room for everything, and that's how we feel.
All right, thank you. Next question. Yes, right here.
네, 전 더 스크린의 박혜연 편집장이라고 합니다. 뵙게 돼서 너무 반갑고요. 시즌 1 그리고 시즌 2 파트 1도 굉장히 재밌게 잘 봤습니다. 배우님들께 먼저 여쭤보고 싶은데요. 같은 질문이고요. 두 캐릭터 모두 굉장히 큰 사랑을 받고 있지만 전형적으로 사랑스럽지 않은 굉장히 괴짜 캐릭터거든요. 이렇게 괴짜 소녀를 연기한다는 것 두 배우에게 좀 어떤 의미가 있을지 궁금하고요. 감독님께는 80년대부터 2025년까지 거의 40년이 넘는 시간 동안 팀버튼의 걸 인 블랙이 정말 세대를 뛰어넘어서 전설적인 사랑을 받는 것 같습니다. 이 걸 인 블랙들을 왜 이렇게 전 세대가 사랑하는 것 같은지 그 이유 궁금합니다. 마지막으로 스톱모션 굉장히 인상적인데 이 스톱모션 시퀀스가 AI 기술의 시대의 팀버튼의 대답으로 들어도 될지에 대한 질문 드리고 싶습니다. 감사합니다.
So 3-part question. First of all, it's wonderful to have you all here in Korea. I very much enjoyed season 1 and part 1 of season 2. My first question goes to Jenna and Emma. Both of your characters are so widely loved all around the world, but both of your characters, they're not the typical lovable girl character, I would say. They're both outcast girls. How does it feel, and what do these respective characters each mean to you? And for Tim, for nearly 4 decades, since the 80s until today, Tim Burton's Girl in Black, as we call them, have been, taking the world by storm. Why is it, do you think, that your version of these girls in black appeal to so many people and also so many different generations? And the third question is also one for you, and I'll remind you as we go, but we loved seeing the stop motion animation. Can we say that your love or your work in stop motion animation is Tim Burton's answer to the way the world is changing, especially in the era of artificial intelligence?
What was the question again?
What does your character Enid mean to you, especially considering the fact that she's not your typical
Yes.
girl, lovable girl character?
She means so much to me. I think because she's not your typical lovable girl character. I love that she's weird and she's an outcast, and I love that she's so unapologetically herself. She doesn't care what other people think about her. You know, she can be crazy and weird and wear weird things and all that, and it doesn't matter. And I think that's so important nowadays. These characters represent uniqueness and being yourself and not fitting into what society thinks is normal. So I think that's why they're so widely loved, because I think people truly want to feel that.
Yeah, I'm thinking of your question, but I'm kind of struggling to come up with what a typical lovable girl character is. Do you know? I feel like oftentimes the ones that do resonate true to people are the ones that, go against the grain and, are moving in the opposite direction. I think, originality and a true sense of self is so important, and that it takes a lot of time to develop something like that. So I'm very inspired by these young girls who, at their age, it's so easy to fall into the bandwagon mentality, but they don't, and they are themselves. So I'm glad that, maybe young people now in the day and age of social media are able to look at these girls and see the importance of speaking your own mind and, having your own voice, regardless of whether or not people agree with you. But I do think the most lovable ones are the disturbed ones and are the strange ones, and just because we all feel like that, we all have flaws and we all have things wrong with us, and to see that celebrated, I think it is one of the more exciting things happening in our world at times.
Beautifully said, and very true, I think. And Tim, what is it about Tim Burton's Girl in Black that appeals to so many people across generations?
I don't know. I mean, it kind of goes with what they're saying. I mean, it shows people that show an individuality. Whether it was like Lydia from Beetlejuice or Catwoman or even Astrid, and, or Wednesday. I mean, and Enid. I mean, all these characters represent a strength and individuality, and that's something that I've always, felt strongly about. And so those kind of characters represent that very same thing that they're discussing.
And the third question about, can we say that the stop motion animation is your answer to AI?
Well, I mean, my answer, because I've loved that form just because it's so tactile and it's so old-fashioned. So I am more, I'm kind of an anti-technology kind of a person. So stop motion is kind of, for me, it goes back to just true creativity and true artistry and handmade things and things made from human beings. So yeah, in some ways, I always like to retain that feeling.
All right, thank you. Do we have a next question?